I am full well aware at 38 years of my life that I can have a tendency to get frustrated and have a knee-jerk reaction and react emotionally to something that may be better to have the emotion removed from my reaction. So I'm learning. Welcome to Midweek Modern Craftsman. How's everyone doing? I am back from traveling the past 3-4 weeks for work. I was in Las Vegas, Builder Show. Not a fan of Las Vegas. New Hampshire, visiting Doug Mullen's job with Anderson Windows, who is a sponsor for the main podcast. Then I was in Boston with Nick and Doug and S Builders, Motif Media. And then JLC last week. So Providence. I presented for JLC with Nick, and we had Doug there capture some of that stuff. Got in a little bit of trouble for filming in some educational seminars. We learned our lesson. Not like me to get in trouble ever. What else? I presented for Anderson. They hired me to do a presentation on consequences of bad window installations, which it's crazy to me. I still see so many of them with all of the information that's out there. Excuse me, I'm drinking a seltzer. I sound like a slob right now. With all the information out there on the internet, you can just look up how to do things correctly. And like YouTube aside, there's like manufacturer's instructions and drainage membranes and WRBs that tell you exactly how to do something, so you don't have to guess how to do it, and people still do it incorrectly, which blows my mind. It's neither here nor there. So yeah, it was a fun weekend. JLC is really a good time. I want to thank especially everyone who showed up for those shows. We sold out 2 presentations. I think it was between 250 and 300 people in total between the 2 courses. One was an hour and a half and one was 3 hours. And Nick and I did not take a break. We fully intended to, and we still didn't get through everything. So I told everyone, if you email me, I will get you the notes out. And I still have not done that because I didn't have time to edit them. My notes are just like, I could just send the raw notes, but I wanted them to be more cohesive and easier to read, and just a little bit easier to digest. And I haven't had a chance to do that. So anyone who's emailed me, I promise you I'm going to get those notes to you. I just haven't had a chance yet, but I really appreciate everyone coming out, everyone signing up for the shows, everyone speaking afterwards. I had really great conversations with a ton of people, a lot of like-minded people, and it's just nice. It's really cool to see, to be around that many people with a similar mindset. And I think that our industry has a lot of issues, and there's a lot of struggles, and there's a lot of things that need to change. But surrounding yourself with people who just want good and who want to be honest and have integrity and learn how to operate a business the right way, like it's just as much of a benefit to me to present at these shows as it is for anyone who is signing up and attending them, because I only know what I know. Like, my perspective is a small owner operator, built on carpenter contractor, and I don't know how to grow a dozen person business. I don't know what it's like to build multiple homes a year. I don't know what it's like to remodel a dozen kitchens a year. I don't know. So I know what I know. So answering questions and giving thought and perspective to all of these different types of businesses within our industry, it serves me very well. Everyone's different. Everyone comes from a different place. Everyone has a different market. Everyone's business structure is different background. Everyone's different. So just listening and having conversations with people, trying to work towards a common goal, is just a really good experience, and it's refreshing to see, and it gives me hope for a lot of the industry. I sometimes, and I'm sure a lot of people do, but I sometimes struggle with how hard this can be. And like, not right. I found a way to make money, and I found a way to run my business as efficiently as possible. And I've cut out a lot of the headache involved with business. But that being said, I still struggle with a lot of things in business. There's a lot of things about our industry that upset me, that I hear from other people, that other people can't get out from underneath, from customers. And it's difficult, and sometimes it gets you down. Um, but it's nice to know, like everyone always emails me and tells me, it's nice to hear your perspective and that you struggle as well. Like, the same goes for me. I'm not up here on a pedestal. I am I have a voice because I choose to put my voice out there, but it's my perspective, and it's not necessarily, it's right for me, but that doesn't mean it's right for you. So hearing your perspective is just as important to me. I may not be able to respond to everyone who gets a hold of me on the same level that you can. That you A lot of people reach out to me and they write these really lengthy emails, and I read them, and they're amazing, and I love them. And sometimes I record a podcast on them. Sometimes I just take tidbits from those emails and I add them to my repertoire, and it gives me a perspective as how I approach life, how I approach business, what I can do differently, what can I share to help other people. And I can't offer the same personal response to every email that comes in. I don't have the time for it. I would love to be able to, but that's a lot of times what I use this outlet for here, and I could sit and I can speak to everyone. So I'm sitting here right now speaking to everyone, telling you thank you for the emails, thank you for coming up and talking to us, thank you for your perspective, thank you for all the insight, and thank you for doing your part in helping to make this whole industry better. That being said, I am fucking pissed right now. Excuse my language. I hope that you're not listening to this around your family. I'm not going to get into it right now because honestly, I'm somewhat sick to my stomach over it. And it's been a couple of days now and it's still progressing. And I'm just like, sometimes I'm okay and I just accept it and be like, you know what? If this is the price that I pay and I can just write all of this off, then whatever. Like, I'm not going to let a small amount of money upset me that much. But then sometimes I wake up and I think about this, or I think about this when my mind's not doing something else, and I start really just probably thinking about this too much. So again, I'm not going to get into it. I will at some point get into this. I'm just not ready. Right now, it's going to be a very emotional conversation. And I think that if I give myself some time, I will probably be happier about it. Yeah, I don't mean to air out my dirty laundry. This is obviously a place that I come to vent and have discussions, and I look for insight and perspective, and I give my opinion on things, right or wrong. This is all that I can do. But yeah, running into some issues with the designer on our last job, and just still things not getting closed out the way that they should. Still issues with the job, a lot of things going on where there's no accountability and no ownership. And when I finally dig my heels in and say enough is enough, now it's the end of the world. So I've been going to bat for my customers. I've been going to bat for myself. And at this point, at a bit of a standstill with the designers. And I'm doing my best to help my customers navigate how to get through this. So at some point, I will get into what's going on and speak to specifics regarding this. Not like again, not airing out dirty laundry, but just I want to get into lessons that I learned and things that I should have known and guards that I let down, and wearing some rose colored glasses. And I think that at the end of the day, it's my job to protect myself, my family, my business, my subcontractors, and my customers. And I allowed a situation. It wasn't me who brought this designer on, right? The designer brought me the job, but at the end of the day, I'm with the customer every day. Um, and I let things go too long before I dug my feet in, and I said, "It's enough. It's enough." And it created a lot of issues, and it created a lot of strife, understandably. But I got tired of myself and my customers being taken advantage of, and I just made a decision that I'm going to stick up for what I believe is right, and I'm going to go to bat for myself, and I'm going to go to bat for my customers. And um, the consequences of that aren't really bad. It's upsetting, and it's frustrating, to say the least. So I'm just emotionally not ready to dig into that, because I don't, I want to properly delineate between what's an emotional reaction and something that I'm digging into because I'm just upset about it right now, and what is professionally the right approach and the right path to navigate to articulate and shed some light on the lessons that I learned. Because right now, anything that I talk about is going to be super emotional. And like, I'm just fucking pissed off. I'm upset. I'm pissed for my customers. I'm like a little pissed for myself, but I'm just more pissed at the people. And I'm upset for my customers. Like, they've just been royally screwed, and they've been royally screwed. And I'm 100% up for making everything right, and I've been, and that's what's getting me into some trouble. But I'm not ready to speak to it yet. I know that I'll probably, my wife has taught me that rather than react, I need to take some time, and I need to calm down, and let some time go by before reacting and blowing up. And like, I am full well aware at 38 years of my life that I can have a tendency to get frustrated and have a knee jerk reaction and react emotionally to something that may be better to have the emotion removed from my reaction. So I'm learning, right? At 38, I think 37, it would be different. I would approach this a lot differently. Hopefully 39, 40, I'm still approaching things differently. I am far from perfect. Business is far from perfect, but I am learning and I am progressing. And right now, my mouth is zipped because I'm pissed. All right. Now that that's out of the way, emotions aside, um, excuse me, I had a phone call, another consulting call, with a young guy who has been in the industry for a handful of years, but he just recently went off on his own. Business has been booming since COVID. Things have been going well, but it's starting to slow down. He's investing in some things, looking to have a family, everything else. And there's a bit of a slow period right now. And he wanted to call because he wanted to speak to see like how I dealt with that, how I deal with that, and what he should be doing about it. Right. So that, like, and I give a lot of credit to him, because when I was at the point that he's in life, not from an age, but just like, I remember when we bought a house and when I had Selby and I just had started my business, maybe I was a little younger, but I went through all of these same things. And I just look to, hey, how can I land the work, rather than, hey, how can I be okay with this? And what options do I have, rather than the short sighted option of, let me take a job now and pay my bills. So I give a ton of credit to him. Um, I believe he's a little older than I was at that point in my career and in my life. So maybe there's just a bit more wisdom than when I was 23, 25, 27 years old. Maybe it's just me being an idiot. Um, but I have learned speaking with people and really probably more just listening to people, um, more so than like not in one ear out the other, but like really listening and taking some of their perspective and applying it to my own life and my own personality. And that really has helped because a lot of the things that I'm going to tell you and a lot of things that I told this individual, somebody else told to me, whether it was my dad, whether it was an older contractor I work with, whether it was um, an in-law, an older sibling, like a peer of mine. They had these conversations with me and I heard them, but I was too stubborn to listen, right? I was too stuck in my ways. I couldn't get out of my own way, um, to really take this into account. So it makes a lot more sense now, right? Listening to this now, I'm like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. I should have done that. Like, why didn't I do that? A huge missed opportunity, but I wasn't ready to hear that at that point in my life. Like I just wasn't ready, and I'm bummed about that because I let a lot of great opportunity and a lot of fleeting moments in my life pass me by that I'll never get back. But I do now have an opportunity, and I have these conversations with my kids. But I do have an opportunity to explain to you what I went through and what I told this young guy, and I can have these conversations with my kids and I can tell my kids the same shit that my parents told me, that you won't understand this now, but someday you'll look back on this and this is going to make sense. And you'll realize that this isn't important and you'll realize that life keeps moving on. And there's a lot of that um, premise behind what I'm saying. And I don't want you guys and girls to lose sight of that. Um, there's more to life than business. And you have to learn how to be present, and all of your projecting and all of your looking towards the future. Like, yeah, that's great when you look at this is my business plan, but at some point you have to separate yourself from that and you have to look at life independent of that, and you have to approach business independent of that. Like, how can I just be okay with today? So that's where this is going to go. But for a little perspective, and you guys have probably heard this before, but when we first had Selby, I recall coming out of labor and delivery and being like, holy shit, I'm a loser. I don't have a legitimate business. I'm not making money. I now have a child and I have a wife and I have a house and I have a business and I'm not doing what I have to do. So I immediately, like, as Selby was coming out of the chute, changed. And it was not for the better at that point. Like, a lot of people have a child and they change for the better. I did not change for the better. I got way more anxious. Um, I got way more negative. I had less ability to handle stress, and I was just really struggling with life. And I tried to outwork these problems. So rather than deal with these problems, I just thought I was going to muscle through them. I was going to push through them and I was going to physically work my way through this. That didn't work for me. So the one thing, and I can recall having this conversation with my dad before Selby was born. She was a couple weeks late. And I was just like, I plan to stop work around her due date or like a week before her due date because it was our first child. And I wanted to be with Rachel and I didn't want to be on a job worrying about this. Second child, that all that shit goes out the window. You don't even care. You'll be like, let me know when you're crowning. But I set myself up to be able to take that time off. When the baby was 2 weeks late, that means that I was 3 weeks without work because I stopped working around a week before the due date. So now I'm 3 weeks into not working. Rachel's getting induced. I'm having a child, And you can imagine what my head was like at that point. I was like, I just took 3 weeks off. I can't fucking take another day off. Like, I need to go make work. I need to go make money. I just had a baby. I need to change my business. My dad had the conversation with me while I was like so antsy before this baby was born. It was like, dude, relax. You're having a baby. Like, everyone's done this before. You're going to be fine. You'll make the money up down the road. Like, you're not going to become destitute. You have things to fall back on. Um, you'll be fine. Just like relax and enjoy this time. You're never going to get this time back. I couldn't hear it. It didn't make any sense to me. In that moment, that was as if my dad was speaking to me in a different language. There was no connection. And I just remember like just fighting the notion of what he was saying. And I wasn't okay with it. It was about me, and it was about how I was getting screwed right now. And I didn't do a good job of handling that. Looking back on it, I should have just been present. I should have enjoyed the last 3 weeks of my life with my wife without the kids. And then I should have enjoyed the time with Selby instead of getting Rachel home from the hospital and then immediately going back to work because I just had 3 weeks off. I should have helped my wife. I should have been there for her. It's not just about Selby, it's about my wife. And instead, I made this about my anxiety and I made it about me. And I went back to work and I dealt with, I didn't deal with it, but this is how I dealt with what I was feeling with my anxiety. Instead of actually being present and working through what I was feeling, I screened that and I camouflaged that through working, which is probably, I dealt with a lot of things in my life that way. It was just a distraction. So the first thing that I would tell you is screw work, screw your customers. Time's fleeting. You're never going to get this time back with your wife, with your children. Enjoy it. Don't worry about the money. A year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, none of that shit's going to matter, but you will forever have the memories of when you helped your wife and you took your baby home from the hospital and you spent the first weeks of your life with them. I don't have that opportunity. I will never have that opportunity again. Excuse me, this is hitting me somewhat hard. But I'll never have that opportunity again and I won't ever get it back. And it was my own angst and my own personality that I've robbed myself of that opportunity. So that's something that I will tell you, and I will stick behind that. If you need money to be able to do that, you can call me and I'll try and find a way to afford you that opportunity because you won't get it back. And I mean that. Work will always be there for you. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, right? The market is extremely fickle and extremely volatile. But if you do right by your customers, if you have integrity in your business, if you're fair, if you honor your word, numbers aside, you will create the foundations of a successful business. You will make more money in life, probably by not being honest, by working the system, and by taking advantage of people. It's probably more lucrative to do that. If that's the way that you live your life, fine. But in my opinion, do right by your customers, do right by yourself, protect the people closest to you, protect the people in your business, and you will create the foundation to have a successful business. There's a lot of things on top of that, obviously, understanding your numbers, knowing your numbers, business things, but you have to be confident that you've done right by enough people that when things are slow, they will pick back up and the people will be loyal to you and come back to you. The next thing, number 3, is not to question your processes or your systems because the phone stops ringing. My reaction and what I said I'm giving this this young man a lot of credit for is that my reaction is, when this happens, just to line up anything, right? To sharpen my pencil and get the work. And that's not the right move. You have to have big picture in mind, and you can't question your systems, and you can't question the confidence that you have in your systems. If they were working and then all of a sudden they're not working, there's probably an external factor that you're not realizing. So call your vendors, call your subs, ask your peers, hey, have leads slowed down? You don't necessarily need to question what you're doing. Your business is going to be successful when you're confident in your business, when you're confident in your process. Whether you're slow or whether your phone is literally ringing off the hook and you have to turn it off and say, I'm my books are closed. I'm not taking any more work right now. If you are confident in your systems, the work will continue to come, because the more confident you are in your systems, whether you're busy or you're slow, you will sell better, you will perform better, you will execute better, and you'll make more money and you'll be more successful. You'll have everything that you need in business when the phone starts to ring again. So you can't lose confidence in your systems when leads slow down. Once you gauge that it's probably an external factor, if you put all these systems in place and things slow down, and everyone else is slowed down, sit tight. Don't lower your rates. Don't start going out and giving free estimates. Don't market yourself towards the jobs that you don't want. It's a very short-sighted business decision. Hang tight, ride it out, rely on everything that you've done to this date to keep you up and afloat, and see what happens. At some point, you might have to make a change, but do not question everything that you've done to this point. It's probably not your system. It's probably just market fluctuations. Number 4, don't be shy about tapping into your past network and your resources. Chances are, if you've been a good person, a good human being, and you've treated your customers well, and you've done things for them, and you've bent over backwards for them, and you've had a mutually beneficial relationship, that these customers are willing to help you out. You can get a hold of past clients, your email list, and say, hey, this is what's going on right now. I'm looking to pick up a little bit more work. Whether you want to tell them, hey, I'm slow right now, or you know what, I've run it. I want to work a little bit more. I want to take on a few more jobs this year. I would appreciate if you kept me in mind, or if you pass my name along, or if you'd hop on and give me some sort of review. Share my business page on whatever sort of platform you feel. If you've treated your customers right and you've helped them out, there's no reason why they shouldn't do this. They will 100% be willing to help you if you've been kind and fair to them. That's how this world works. That's how our business works. We are in a service industry, and we work for families in their number one investment. Most of us work for, middle class, middle of the road families who we develop a relationship and we develop a rapport with, and they are absolutely willing to help you if you need help. So do not be afraid to tap into that. You've spent so long developing this business, developing your network, developing your reputation. Tap into that. Use that. Use it to your advantage, and use it to drum up the work that you need. It will be in line with your ethos. It will be in line with the type of work that you want to do. It will be within the network that you want. And sometimes people just need a little reminder. Oh, you know what? We've been waiting to do that renovation. It just I don't know. It wasn't top of mind. It wasn't a priority. But now that we know, hey, he's looking to do a little bit more work. Yeah, let's get going on that. Why wait? So sometimes people just need a reminder, and don't think that your phone's not ringing just because they don't want work done or because they're not thinking about you. It might just be that other shit's going on. And The priority isn't to get the kitchen done right now until you remind them that, hey, kids are getting older. Our kitchen sucks. Yeah, let's do this. So tap into your existing network. Don't be bashful. Be honest. Tell them what's going on. I know that when I was looking for Google reviews a while ago, my fear was that customers wouldn't be willing to do them because they did like I don't do a lot of work, and my return customers a lot of times will tell me like, we don't want to give your name out because it's hard enough to get you here as is. If we give your name out, that means when we need work, we're not going to be able to get a hold of you. So I had to convince my customers, look, I'm not looking to really take on more customers. I'm just looking to increase the quality of lead and the quality of customer. So your review is going to help me get my business to where I want to be. I want all my customers to be like you. So that's what I'm doing by asking you to give me a review and a review of my company. It's not to drum up more work. It's not to be busier. It's just to have more great customers like you. And that worked. I got the reviews that I wanted at the time, and it got me through whatever mental headspace I felt that I needed at that point. Um, Number 5, use this downtime to work towards your goals, not just take a job to make a quick dollar. And again, this is what this young man was asking for my perspective on. um, if you're so laser focused on lining up the work, you're really just exacerbating this situation. A quick dollar and a quick lead now, it's going to lead you towards referrals of the same. So yeah, okay, I'm going to take this job and it's going to pay my bills for 2 weeks, but everything that's going to come from that is decreased profit margins and more jobs of the same caliber. Where if you just sat tight and you worked on your vetting process, you worked on your marketing program, you worked on figuring out how to curate your story and who you are and find the customers who want you, you could not be working for this time and then lining up the jobs that pay you more money. So you're actually working less and making more money instead of taking the job to immediately pay your bills, not spending the time on the back end of your business and finding out who you are and what makes you money and what your numbers look like. And you're just perpetuating the business model that has not brought you to where you want to be in the first place. So instead of just gut reaction, looking to line up more work, take a step back, enjoy the time off. As slow as you are now, you're going to be twice as busy when it comes back around. I know that that's really hard to hear, and I really had trouble with understanding that. But use the time to build the business that you want, to ensure that your systems are bulletproof, to find the right customer for you, and to move forward. The short term concessions here will pay you dividends in the long run. Um, Give up the job that doesn't make you money and work on your business so that 2 months from now, 3 months from now, a year from now, you're closer to where you want to be and you're working for the customers that you want rather than just feeding the beast, paying the bills, and working the jobs that aren't in the direction of where you want your business to head. The jobs that just, they're not serving you. And you're so concerned with that short term dollar that you continue to go down that path. So that's it for me today. Um, I actually, this was a last minute podcast decision. I didn't intend to record one today, but I was bummed. I was upset. I was pissed off. Not a great day for me. And I decided that I wanted to sit down and record something. Um, I wanted to get some shit off my chest. I didn't want to get into details. I just wanted to speak out loudly as to how I was feeling and that I feel like shit, and that I'm pissed off, and that I'm unhappy, and that I feel that I've been taken advantage of, and I feel my customers have been taken advantage of, and that I'm not going to stand for it. And I don't want to question what I'm doing. And I want to get on here and I want to hold myself accountable, and I want to not question my processes, and I want to not question my systems. And I want to know that as things have gone south with certain relationships, that it's because I'm doing the right thing, and I want to stand behind that. And I feel that I have done that. I want to absolve myself of some of the emotional attachment. I guess I want to detach myself emotionally from the situation and just look at this from a different perspective, possibly more transactional, possibly just using it to better myself and better who I am, and serve my customers and myself and my family better. So that was the intent of this. And to be honest, I'm actually very happy with where this podcast went, where this blog post went. It was somewhat off the cuff, shot from the hip, and it ended up going down a path that makes me feel good. It makes me feel that it's going to help people. It's not necessarily business from the sense of numbers and spreadsheets, but it can help you with your life. It can help you with your business. It can help you just be a more present, content human being and realize that there's a lot of shit in life that's extremely fleeting, and there's a lot of shit in life that's just not important and doesn't require, or you don't have to concede your energy to that crap. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, not something I intended to do, but I'm happy with it. I feel better. I hopped on here and I did not feel good, but I feel better now. So I hope you all feel better now as well. And you're just having a great, swell day, and everything's great. And you're heading into spring break and flowers and a nice time of year here. So, as always, I appreciate everyone who's listening. Appreciate the sponsors on the main podcast. I appreciate all the opportunities, all the consulting calls. If you want to hop on a consulting call, shoot me an email, tyler@trghomeconcepts.com. We can discuss what that looks like. But yeah, I appreciate everyone coming out to JLC, all the people with the questions. I will get those emails and those notes out to all of you shortly. But I mostly appreciate everyone listening, all the feedback, all the support. There's a lot of people behind this. And again, this helps me just as much as it helps you. So I appreciate all the ears and all the responses and the constant support. I'll catch you guys on the next one.